All right, members of the culture, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Ra, and you are here. Welcome everybody in. Welcome to the channel. We are here today for a quick review of another character that we promised. That would be the one and only Darkseid, one of DC's most enduring villains. A personal favorite of mine. He is in my fave 4 for sure, but we'll cover that on another day. We're going to do this review like we do every other review, and that is to remind you that, one, we are a primary inbox collecting channel. There are channels that cover out of the box, and they go way more in depth in terms of articulation, sculpt, paint, details, all of those. We mention them every time, but again, we'll give them a quick shout out. That would be none other than my man D Amazing, also great at figure photography, D Hunter, Bones in the Necro Zoo, my man Kyle Peterson, and 5 Points of Articulation. Those are some really good channels, folks, so please go show them some love, especially if you're looking for a little bit more of an in-depth review. But we'll cover this review like we do the others. You know our criteria is the same as always. It's the same Fab 4, right? And that is cool. Is it cool to you? Connect. It is not about looks yet. Price. Is it worth your scratch? And last but not least, display. Now, how do I look? Especially next to everybody else. All right, so let's go ahead and get to without any questions, okay? So we're going to cover the DC. There's a lot of versions of DC's Darkseid. This particular one, as you all know, as I said before, this one is from the good folks at Beast Kingdom. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this figure. Let's grab him off the stand. All right, so a little closer. There he is, DC's Darkseid in all of his glory. So you can pick up all the details on him. He's actually a kind of a heavy figure, you know, believe it or not. Very, doesn't feel cheap. Doesn't feel, I don't want to say plasticky because that's a word people say, but he definitely feels like he's well built and worth your money. Fairly good articulation on him. I love this costume he's in. He's had various looks depending on who's drawing him at that time, but I think he looks fantastic. This is the pose that I like most associated seeing him with, and that's from, like, if you played Injustice, remember that? He had that look, I think it's Injustice 2, excuse me, where he came out and he had that look, and that Beast Kingdom did that. No, I'm sorry, Storm Collectibles, whom, you know, you've also seen our review on the channel for Kintaro, but they did an amazing job when it comes to Darkseid as well. That's their take, and as I said, that covers Darkseid. Depends on who's drawing him. Like, we've got the old Super Friends look, we've got the DC Direct. There's so many different looks for Darkseid. So if you're looking for a figure where you can get a cool figure and a bunch of different looks, look no further than Darkseid. He is definitely your guy, right? So here we go. As you can see, this is like the sculpt and everything, the details here. All of that is there and amazingly there at that. I think he displays real well, very well built, very well articulated. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So in our opinion, in terms of articulation, he's not hard to pose. He moves really well. That's not an issue. It's just that when I deal with Darkseid, he's one of those figures that, for me, he can look up, down, a little bit of tilt, left to right. But he's just best, to me, although he moves well and you can get some amazing poses out of him, I think he's best suited for just the common pose, the pose I see with his hands behind his back. That's just how I usually see him, because he is such a badass, right? He typically can beat you with just those annoying Omega beams. We all know about that. But anyway, I'll just go ahead and show you. Now, here's something that we covered. These gauntlets that they have, they look really cool. But with this figure, if there is I'm not going to say a knock on it, but when it comes to where you're going to look for his joints right here are a little thin. The way they're exposed, you know, the way they did it. I mean, it's a design choice. That's how they chose to do it. But if you're somebody that looks at every single detail, that may be something that bothers you. Us here, not as much, because as I say, we're going to have him in the pose with the majority of his arms out of your sight anyway. But he does have those little spaces, so it is something to be aware of. But he is well articulated for the most part. He can give you a good kick. He does bend back pretty well. That's that kick forward. I mean, pretty good range on that. Very flexible, good swivel, ab crunch. I think basically but to us, when we see him, that's how we're going to see Darkseid. His hands are usually always going to be behind his back right there. And that's just how we tend to display him here. It's with his arms behind his back. And that's just Darkseid. That's how we feel. That's how we view him. You may, obviously, it's when you purchase him, you can display him however you want, however you best remember Darkseid. But when we look at Darkseid, that's how we always envision him, with his hands behind his back. Now, I know you're going to wonder, oh man, but how does he look with the Omega beams? How cool does he look with the Omega beams? He looks really cool, but I will warn you on this, and I'm not saying this as a negative, right? So it's not a negative, but it is something to be aware of in terms of putting that in, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right here. Plenty of accessories here, so they don't cheat you either when it comes to that. I'll show you what I'm talking about on the accessories here. Let me get him a little bit more situated out of the way. When it comes to Darkseid, when it comes to Beast Kingdom rather, they don't cheat you on accessories either. Much like Storm, you get plenty. These, and I did some pictures, and you'll see. Here's his other head sculpt. I'll take that out and show you. But he comes with these Omega Beam effects, right? But anyone that has dealt with this figure, this is something, as I said, I'm not making it a negative, right? But these effects can be difficult. Like, they have a protruding end that goes into his eyes to put on there, and I'll show you that too. Here is the a little closer look at his other head sculpt, because he comes with just one other head sculpt. But I'll tell you this right now, and there we go. That's his other head. Let me try to get it close up. So that's his other head. It is fearsome too, right? I prefer the thinking man's head there. I don't know if you got a chance to see the difference. Let me bring him here closer. So see what I'm saying? That's his thinking man's head, and that's the, where's my money? So that's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary again on that, right? These effects go into the eye hole, right? So if you're familiar with Darkseid and those Omega Beams, and if you played Injustice, you're certainly familiar with that, because that was the most annoying attack. And those of you that played with Darkseid know what I'm talking about. If you played with Darkseid, you know how annoying that those were, those Omega Beams. But this is what they look like, right? So these Omega Beams actually go in here, right? Into those eye holes, those sockets. They fit in there, but they're a pain to get in. You can do it, but once you get them in there, then they make these, you can shoot at crazy angles out, just like what he's known for. You have to be careful, though. I mean, it is sturdy, but they will break if you're not careful in getting that in there. So I want to warn you ahead of time. You can do some really cool poses. He does have some effects. So he's got like a red gauntlet here with the fist, with a like his heated up fist. I'll say that effect. You also have additional fist right here, choking hands, and a pair of splayed out hands right here. So he has plenty of good accessories, but what you have to know, as I said, is the Omega Beams, as cool as they are, it's one of those things where if you do it, you probably want to leave the Omega Beam effect in there. Because it's kind of I won't say cumbersome, but it's a little bit on that side. They're not the easiest thing to get in there. At least that's just what we experienced here. Secondly, you have to be careful. They are hard plastic, but I have heard of cases of other people that have had this figure where it could have snapped. I think it's something where if you're going to do it, it's meant to be displayed, not constantly taken in, taken out, right? Now, on to our next, to the review itself, but that's just something to be aware of, right? So we wanted to make sure we covered that for you all, right? We give you the pros and the cons here, and let you make your decision. When it comes to reviewing, as you know, our review criteria goes off of those 4 points, which is cool, connect, price, and display. And then that gives you a total of 100 possible points. Now, in terms of Darkseid, right? And again, this is just our review. I have to always say that. You would think I'd need to say that, but I do need to say that because people do get, in their feelings when it comes to their favorite character. They go, what do you mean? That score's not high enough. I love Darkseid. I mean, we love him too, right? He's one of our personal favorites. But as I said, it's just a subjective thing. It really, really is. Now, the first factor is cool. Is it cool to you? Well, I mean, ask yourself that question. Is Darkseid cool to you? If Darkseid is cool to you, then by all means, go ahead and rate him and rate him as high as you can. We gave Darkseid a score of 20 out of 25 on terms of cool. When it comes to connect, we do connect with him. As I said, he's in one of our fave 4, and we'll cover those fave 4 villains on another video. But Darkseid scored in terms of connect. He did score 20 on that. Price. Now, in this particular one, folks, here's where I will be as honest as we can. In terms of price, is it worth your scratch? Beast Kingdom priced this thing pretty high. This figure was, I mean, if you get him nowadays, he retails still for about $169, but he was almost $200 when he hit. And that's pretty pricey, so he scored a 20 out of that for us. And then now display. How do I look, right? How does Darkseid look, again, with other figures? If I had to rate him against the Kentaro, you can't get him in as many poses as you can the Kentaro. It's not, I mean, obviously he has 4 arms and Darkseid has 2, right? But in terms of posability, I think that particular figure poses a little bit better, right? So we gave Darkseid a 20. So his total score is 80, which is still a very good score. We're talking about out of 100. So if I had to say, is it overall, it's 80. But in terms of price, I would try to get him on a sale. That's kind of what we did here. It is a well-built figure, and I do think that Beast Kingdom does good figures. I want to put that out there. I don't want to make you feel that if you're thinking or on the fence, like, oh, do they do good stuff? No, they do. They do good figures. But they are on the higher end of the scale. Sometimes, depending on what it is, worth it. Sometimes not. For us, we just felt like his price was a little bit high, right? It's kind of like that Mezco Dr. Doom. It's absolutely amazing, but $200. Or like the Fantastic Four set, great, definitely want to have them, but $400. I mean, so it's one of those things where it's worth it, but do you have the funds to make that purchase? Does it justify that? I don't know about $400. It could be a reach for me, but focusing on this particular guy right here, do I think that he's up there for $170? No, I think he fits better maybe in the $100 price range, possibly. For most people, that's where most people are going to grab him between $80 and $100 if you catch him on sale at the right time, right? So overall, he gets 80 points as far as our total score. Definitely worth the purchase, but the big caveat for him again is going to be that price. You got to watch out there for the price. If you can get him for a good deal, by all means, snag him. He's definitely worth it. And the Omega beams. They made them just as annoying to put in as they are to face in the video game Injustice, right? So those are the only two, I guess you could say, cons or things that would make you kind of give a little bit of pause to when it comes to purchasing Darkseid. He'll do great with a display, but just be aware of both of those things. So once again, 80 points, definitely worth it overall if you can take those factors into consideration. Folks, we would like to thank you so much for tuning in, for liking, for commenting, for subscribing. It means the world to us because we are the culture. And I mean we, that means all of us, those of us here at this channel and those of you that are watching wherever you may be in the world. Please, please, please follow us on YouTube. Follow us on IG and the X. If you're going to follow us on IG and X, remember that it is the Great Ra 4, like the number 4, Eva, EVA. If you're going to find us on IG or X, it is the Great Ra Forever. TikTok, the Great Ra. YouTube, the Great Ra. So once again, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the time, love, and effort that you guys are giving us right now. We are a day one channel, growing and getting better. All of those things happen, though. I mean, could not happen without your support. So thanks for tuning in, folks, and be on the lookout. We've actually got 2 top 10 lists coming later today, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's 2 top 10 lists. I think you'll enjoy those. That one of them is going to be particularly a little bit spicy, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, folks. You all, remember, we are the culture, and to all of my people, stay great.